7 of the SBS coverage of the Australian Stock Car Championships, coming to you from Melbourne's Thunderdome. Round 7 is the series final. All will be decided.
It's a milestone in motorsport tonight as the Calder Thunderdome, the home of Auscar and NASCAR racing in Australia, goes under lights for the first time. Promoters have spent close to $1 million to cover the Thunderdome with 1.5 million watts of power per hour. And the blaze of light and colour has brought a huge crowd. Welcome to the Calder Thunderdome and the grand final of the 1993-94 Stock Car Racing Championships in Australia. In the Auscar racing, just 11 points separates 4 times winner Bradley Jones. On to surface paradise, and it was no surprise to find Jones and Faulkner on the front row of the grid. But this time, the major points would elude them both. So intent were they on beating each other that the inevitable happened. And to the detriment of both. Faulkner slowed immediately and headed for the pits, while Jones pressed on gamely until the first right-hander. Eventually, the lead was taken by Bruce Williams, who was tailed by the Valvoline car of Gary Rogers. Jim Richards succumbed to problems and was overtaken by Peter Fitzgerald. And in the most frightening accident in the history of Auscar, Lloyd McDonald managed to escape with minor injuries from this horrific head-on. At the flag, Gary Rogers beat Terry Wyhoon with a failing Bruce Williams third. So at the end, then come John Faulkner and Grant Munday tied on 9.18 from Peter Fitzgerald.
And here we come to the grand final of the Goodyear Auscar Series for 1993-94. The Petters Auscar 200. It's round 7 of the championship. It's been a great national championship this year. And we're ready to go racing. Terry Wyhoon battling for his first championship, just 11 points behind Jones, is on pole. Bruce Williams right alongside him in a first turn for the year in 9th position.
And way back in 13th, of course, is Peter Fitzgerald. Half a lap remaining, and Alan Grice, what are the tactics in this race?
Brad Jones has been there and done it. This is the grand final. Some teams can play grand final football, others have trouble. Bradley's been there. His crew are excellent. His crew management, his planning, his tactics. He may not feature all that strongly early. It'd be very hard to beat over the distance because this is the grand final. Different rules apply, and I think he'll be good. But Wyhoon's been very quick, and so's Munday.
Wyhoon very concerned, however, because in practice today his car was overheating as they're racing. Wyhoon down the inside.
And Bruce Williams right alongside. The fireworks go off at the Thunderdome, and it's Wyhoon leading into turns 1 and 2 for the first time. 110 laps in the Petters Auscar 200. Wyhoon now up the back straight. There's fireworks going off everywhere. Also on the racetrack as well as in the air. Here comes Brad Jones trying to go around the outside of John Faulkner.
Yeah,
and of course Faulkner has enlisted the help of Steve Harrington for this weekend, driving the number 16 Better Appliance Store car. First lap down, just 109 to go. Look at the gap that Wyhoon already has.
I watched these cars carefully during qualifying and during practice. Wyhoon is particularly quick into corners. He's about the last to get off the noise and about the first to get on it. Very strong in that section of the track. I think that's taken him away just early stages, but boy, a long way to go.
Look at Wyhoon sprinted now.
And of course, Wyhoon is just 11 points behind Brad Jones, bearing in mind the 5 points difference for positions. Here comes Marshall Brewer on the inside. We're going to go 3 abreast. No, not quite into turn 1, but currently in this position. Now Brad Jones has gone past Faulkner. He wouldn't get the championship had Brad Jones been one place further back. That could be enough at the end of 110 laps for Waihoon to take the championship.
Waihoon now under threat.
Passed
by the lead by Bruce Williams. Williams running on a borrowed engine. In fact, he's blown up both of his.
Funnily enough, borrowed it from Steve Harrington, who's using Rob Walker's engine in the 16 car.
Here comes Bradley Jones now down the inside of Waihoon. This is the race for the championship. Brad Jones has won it 4 times on the trot. And he's through into second position, eclipsing Waihoon.
Well, the guy's probably the consummate professional. He's going to try and set a cracking pace early on. Marshall Brewer trying to take Waihoon now. He does. Waihoon all of a sudden, as we saw in the sportsman race, it doesn't take much to go from first to fourth. Brad Jones, the Cooper Tools Atlantis Removals Commodore, doing a great job. Fantastic vision out the back of his car. Marshall Brewer right on the bumper bar of Jones. That's coming out of turn number 2 and up the back straight. These cars doing 280, 290 kilometres per hour.
Brewer now down the inside.
Boy, you can't get much closer than that. What a great opening to a long race like this. That last camera shot we saw in the front of that white and red car there, of course, Marshall Brewer. You could almost check the timing on it. This does surprise me with Brad Jones out in front. It'll be interesting to see the lap times they're doing. I guess also they're on a little bit of virgin territory here because they've not run this sort of distance. They've not raced before at this track under lights and in the dark. We've had a very clear and a lovely day here today, and what sort of moisture is going to come down later in the day? Is it starting to come down now? You know, are the cars starting to push? There's a lot of new stuff to be looking at here, and I guess reminds me working overtime.
Well, it may in fact be a little bit of a lottery. We see Faulkner going around side Williams that time. Will Williams be used as a blocker on Jones by Faulkner as well, seeing that he's using Harrington's engine? There's something else into the equation.
Well, I actually asked Bruce Williams that question. I said, are you out there offering the numbers to either one of the two protagonists? And he said, when it comes right down to it, if I get an opportunity, I'll give it to Waihoon rather than to Jones. So he's come out and declared his status, Alan.
Well, it's a gutsy manoeuvre to come out like that.
Settling into positions. If we go through, there's Brad Jones now already coming up and lapping car 13, which of course was John Kennedy, made the move up from the HQ Holden. We're on lap number 8. We'll cross over here, start-finish line. We're on lap number 9. Marshall Brewer settling into second position.
Brad Jones has had an up and down week with his motor car. He was absolutely gone off. He played with it in today's practice. Obviously now it's working. Here's Marshall Brewer, makes his move on the inside, and we've got a new leader in the Goodyear Auscar series.
Amazingly, 4 leaders we have had already in this race, and we're not even up to lap number 10.
It's sensational stuff. There goes Brewer streaking away now from Bradley Jones.
That's a great camera shot also. Look at the car working. You can see it going over the bumps that are there, and he comes out up against the fence. Great camera shot.
Now up the back straight. Great shot again out of the back of Brad Jones' car. The back straight is actually temporary lighting. Looking at Faulkner.
Waihoon and Faulkner, yes. Faulkner does it, I think, on Waihoon.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Now, Faulkner right on the bumper bar of Brad Jones, who is in second spot.
And this is something that Bradley Jones could do without in this one race. Faulkner and Jones have been hammer and tongs all year long. Faulkner really, while he's in third place in the championship, really has nothing to lose now. He can harry and harass Brad Jones all he likes, and in fact Jones, I think then, Alan, gets out of his way.
Yeah, he just held it high. He said, okay, if you want to get up there, there's your passage, off through you go.
We have seen these guys just about every meeting here at the Thunderdome come out and run the first laps really, really fast, both Faulkner and also Jones, and also Brewer's always mixed it in there. They've swapped the lead quite a number of times. They've gone flat out, they've backed off, they've eased off. It looks as though they've slowed down. And then they've come back up through the field again.
New leader again, John Faulkner. Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. That's our 5th leader in 12 laps.
Some people have the idea that these cars really, because the circuit is so banked, when they get to the corners, they run on rails. But some of those those lovely low-down camera shots you can see, the cars are actually drifting through the corner. Now look at that car in comparison to the yellow line. It's not parallel, it's slightly drifting all the way through the corner. They're going a lot quicker than you think, and remember, they're on standard Goodyear tyres.
Mark Seaton in the number 23 DFS Health Insurance Ford Falcon has gone in the pit area. We've seen Brewer go past Brad Jones again that time, going around a slower car as they come up the back straight. Of course, you've got to bear in mind, as Brewer goes past, is he going to take Faulkner?
Yes,
he does. There we go, another.
And look at Wyhoon on the outside. 3 abreast going into turn 1, and Wyhoon is putting himself up into the marbles and in great jeopardy.
And here comes the Bow Repairs
Monday,
car,
who's of course equal 3rd in the series at the moment with John Faulkner, so he's into the act as well.
Yeah, he's just lurking, isn't he? He's just lurking on the back of that pack. He's looking good.
Well, all of a sudden, Brad Jones has gone from sitting right on the tail of Marshall Brewer in 3rd spot. He's back in 5th or 6th spot.
Yeah, 5th position now for Brad Jones, but it's not as if first place is all that far away.
No.
Now he says he's only there. Oh, as another passing manoeuvre goes on.
Bruce Williams again. And
underneath Marshall Brewer.
In for the lead again.
But Harrington is there, according to Faulkner, only to give Fisher and Pikell another mobile billboard. The truth of the matter is, however, that he's there to run interference on the rest of the field to give Faulkner an opportunity to play Maryhill with the leaders.
This lead swapping and place swapping, the reason there are 3 commentators, one couldn't possibly call all the shots, he couldn't call all the passes.
Exactly.
There has been 6 lead changes in 16 laps. So every 3 laps we've got another change. Looking out the back of Brad Jones' car again, there's Grant Monday. Les Small prepared Bow Repairs Commodore.
I think there's been 6 lead changes in Group A during the whole year as well.
Yeah. 6 months. And just as happened there, he was taken back to 3rd spot. 7th lead change for the race with Faulkner going in.
And Wyhoon, meantime, goes up into 3rd position under Marshall Brewer. Or at least attempted to do so. Yes, yep. There he is. Brad Jones back in 5th position. Grant Monday right on the tail now of Jones. And then lurking right behind them is Stephen Harrington.
Now, Wyhoon's going to try the inside line to take the lead again this time around. Faulkner just holding out there. A good job, and of course we've gone 19, nearly 20 laps down. 110 laps in the Petters Auscar 200. Interesting, Gary Rogers sitting in 8th position at the moment. He won up at the IndyCar Grand Prix, Surfers Paradise.
First ever Auscar win. That's the view out the back of Brad Jones's car on Grant Monday, the Bow Repairs vehicle, as it goes for a look down the inside. It possibly won't make it through. Does not.
A bit far to go. That car looks to be handling well. It's holding tight everywhere. He's running quite low down both ends of the track this Monday. That indicates to me he's got a very good setup, I think.
Wyhoon's gone back into the lead. That's yep. Lead number 2 million by the count, I think. Number 8.
Yep.
Amazing. Bruce Williams gone up in the 2nd spot. Faulkner all of a sudden gone back to 3rd. You see Terry Wyhoon is representing the Army this weekend. Of course, it being Anzac Day on Monday. The Defence Forces have joined with Calder Park Raceway for a great promotion.
And Alan Gross, I've got to ask the question, with this cracking pace, what are they doing to their tyres?
A little bit of an unknown. If they were running this in a normal daylight situation with 30, 35 degrees of bitumen temperature, they'd be tearing their tyres up because they're not sitting on one line and not taking the pure line round the track. They're changing lines, coming up high, pinching the cars down, letting them go out, sometimes keeping them down. So that indicates a lot of tyre use. However, a big factor is they're now running at night time. So it's probably not very much tyre wear at all, but the whole thing is, nobody knows.
And as Peter Fitzgerald comes up into that pack as well, Ian Campbell in the pits has news. 2 Fords Rapids night racing is really something else again, as now. On the outside, Bruce Williams has a big go on Wyhoon. Not the place to do it. And he slips back into the slipstream, a wise choice, I'd suggest. Marshall Brewer right behind in 3rd place.
Interesting, Peter Fitzgerald has moved up in the 9th spot as we see Waihoon just take a little bit out that time on Bruce Williams, but Fitzgerald all of a sudden has come into this lead group as well.
23 laps into the event, less than 3 seconds separates the top 10 competitors. Find me another category of motor racing that'll do that for you.
NASCAR.
Right. And
Sportsman. HQs, you'd be lucky to get a second, I think, but
fairly big way. Look at the flames shooting out the side of the exhaust there. Yeah. Something you don't see in daytime racing.
You don't see very much of it because that only happens when they back off, and they don't do that very much in performance motor racing.
Okay, now Waihoon in the lead. Behind him is Bruce Williams. Then comes Marshall Brewer. No, Brad Jones.
And a great field of entries for this weekend as well, John, because of course we had around 30 was in the pits.
John, George Casamuni come in here with absolutely no power in the car. He's been sitting here patiently for a couple of minutes. They've been trying to do a battery changeover. They've affected that, and now smoke's erupted under the bonnet. It's a bad day.
Of course, the sad part about some of those engines going was that one did go at Surface Paradise when he was in fact leading the event. We saw John Kennedy getting past again. The 99 car of Greg East is right in the way of Bruce Williams. He won't be a happy camper over that one. And look, that's allowed Faulkner to take the high line. Yep, and get past him. I think some hand gesticulations will be happening there.
Yes, there'll be a few indications of having a couple of drinks later, perhaps. But they're the risk you have to take. This is very, very close racing. When you come on that lap cars, you can lose your momentum. So it's not actually until you get through the next couple of corners and get out on the next straight that you're even completely back up to race speed. But we've got a yellow. We've got a yellow called, and I can't see any cars off the road. Must be debris on the track.
We're undertaken in Australia.
Well, I counted 31 lighting poles out there when I wandered around today. 394 lights on them. And it's enough to light, they say, 24 football fields. And all of it been done in 6 weeks. Not a bad effort.
And that's stage one. There's more lights for the back straight, I believe, by the next meeting in October.
Yep. Alan, do you find a difference?
Important differences there. You don't have as good vision through your rear vision mirror. I think that's a combination of the fact that you're running under lights, plus you've probably got a bit of glare coming from your rear screen from the lights above. And it is difficult to know, I don't think any of us do yet, whether you can pick up trails of water or trails of oil on the track in front of you. We'll find that out. I guess these guys are finding it out just before us. I must rush down and ask.
At the moment is under quite some threat when there's a restart on. As they stand at the moment, we're told, with Waihoon lying first and Brad Jones lying fourth. Waihoon, if the race was...
A couple of Auscars coming into the pit area, but it's about to be one hot night with the Auscars. The pedal to the metal. Waihoon streaks away that time. He controlled that start exceptionally well. So Terry Waihoon currently leads. John Faulkner in second. Bruce Williams in third spot. Brad Jones, the number 8. Cooper Tools car in fourth. Marshall Brewer fifth. And Steve Harrington making a move up the field. He's in sixth.
Yeah, Waihoon really did control that start magnificently. He opened what you can see the gap there, at least 3 or 4 cars.
Yes, and then he chopped into that first corner very, very quickly.
And put Greg East between himself and Faulkner, which was a very smart move. Now Faulkner, however, is on the charge. Behind him again is Bruce Williams. Behind Williams is Marshall Brewer. Greg East is then getting in the way of Bradley Jones, but only momentarily now as John Faulkner comes down and takes over the lead from Terry Waihoon. On lap 38.
Spoke with Terry earlier in the day and was a little bit nervous, but he said what the plan was today was to go out and try and win a race meeting first, and obviously any championship laurels followed the results of tonight's meeting. So taking it quite sensibly, they're not going to go out there today and just try and sit in a position where they might be able to knock Bradley off. They want to go out there and they want to win, and they want to win.
Won a race in the Auscar series this year. His best result so far has been a second. His worst result has been a 6th. but he's had a few consistent fourths and fifths, and that's what's given him his 955 points. Well in excess of 200 kilometres an hour. Faulkner now down the inside, takes back the lead. Waihoon takes over from Brad Jones. You're riding with Brad Jones. That's the SMS mobile phones car of Terry Waihoon directly in front.
Just incredible. Drivers going each and every way that time. Brewer going the inside. Oh, gee, the squeeze was put on Williams. All of a sudden, Faulkner's gone from first to third, maybe even fourth there if Waihoon can get past. And Marshall J. Brewer now up in first spot.
Anybody for a slipstream, you can see just how important it is to get out of the corner quickly, get in the draft behind the car in front, let it break the air, push it out of the road while you're being sucked along behind it. And as the corner comes up, you pull out and go high or go low, let the momentum carry you past into the corner. Then you've got to sort it out and get it through there. It's not all that simple.
How much additional speed does that give you here at Calder Thunderdome?
Well, it's really only got to give you a car's length. If you can pull out and get enough extra speed to, when you pull out of that slipstream, you're halfway past the car in front, he's got to give it to you going into the corner. He's got to go higher. You're on the superior low-down inside line. And these guys are working together very well. This top 8 cars or so are consistently pulling themselves away from the pack, and it's that aerodynamic effect.
There's no paint being swapped either, Alan. They're driving a beautiful, clean race. All of these 8, 9, even 9, 10 guys, because Nathan Preddy all of a sudden has joined the pack. Yes, just the odd little touch here and there, but it's certainly no elbowing going on, that's for sure. They're all giving each other racing room. You see, when somebody comes out of the slipstream and goes on the inside, puts their nose in front, you've got to give them racing room, because next time round, they're in the position to do the same thing to you. There's got to be a lot more respect, I think, for the other cars showing in this form of racing, because one slip and you're in the wall, and it's so easy to happen.
Nathan Pretty now up into 10th position. Just 2.2 seconds separates the top 10 drivers. You're riding with Brad Jones. Behind him is the man who's vying for series leadership, Terry Waihoon.
Interesting equation. John Faulkner sitting in third spot. Waihoon has really come on strong this season. You see Bruce Williams going around the outside of Faulkner.
Faulkner down the inside. Can he do it? Brad Jones, meantime, is really under threat from Waihoon.
His yellow cars are a little bit confusing too, especially throwing Steve Harrington. There he is on the left of those two cars, just behind Waihoon now.
Harrington using a lot more of the circuit than Waihoon. The race for the lead, and it's John Faulkner back in it. Bruce Williams in second position. No, it isn't. It's Marshall Brewer in second position, isn't it?
21 car Rod Dawson, a Tui's red holding Commodore into the pit area.
Yeah, they won't be happy with that. That's an unscheduled stop.
Certainly improved out of sight this year, Rod Dawson, but unfortunately that's really going to affect him.
It's been noticeable since this restart that Bradley Jones has been definitely sitting. He's in third now. He's going very steadily there, but he hasn't been taking the exaggerated dives into the corners of some of the others. He's just been sitting. He's about to make a move now, I'd say. He's just moved into third. He's certainly got the sniff of second and first. Maybe he'd just like to see a little bit of daylight, get some nice fresh clean air in his radiator. But he doesn't seem to be as exaggerated across the line, across the road as the other.
Look at that, you've got the top 8 cars all in the one shot, all at 230 kilometres an hour. This is sensational racing, and Bradley Jones has just taken the lead.
Oh, this is incredible, absolutely incredible. Brad Jones, Bruce Williams, Terry Waihoon. Chocolates to boiled lollies for the moment as John Faulkner has gone back to fourth. Oh, this is incredible. Really a sensational racing. And here comes Grant Monday even, and he's trying to put his nose up there.
And Brad Jones is saying, hang on, hang about. I didn't want to lead this early. Fellas, come on up to me.
Gone down 50 laps now, 60 to go. And we're going down to Ian Campbell in the...
For a moment about the concentration, these drivers are so close together. They're swapping places, they're slipstreaming each other. Now they're coming up to lap a car. Now what's the added problem that they've got? Because they're still going high, going low. They're both going, the 2 litres going around the outside top. The others, what do? Inside or outside? No, both to the outside. All these decisions that have got to be made by this group of 8 or 9 drivers while they're racing each other so closely. They're also looking at instruments. They've got to make sure that their temperatures are all right. They're trying not to let the car work too hard on the front and on the rear, not falling off the back of the pack, not overstretching the cars a long race. I mean, these guys are making a lot of decisions every second, I suggest.
Now, Faulkner goes down the inside of Waihoon and splits the series leaders. Faulkner ever so slightly disappointed that he's not in total outright contention himself. 3rd place isn't bad, but for Faulkner it's not enough. He, of course, took 2 wins in the series at Adelaide International Raceway and then at the last round here at Calder Thunderdome. But he's 20.
The pit area is closed. What is going to happen?
Championship. Let's go to Alan Gaskell. Brad Jones has been in and out in lightning time. He was the first into the pits and the first to get back out again. Terry Waihoon speeds out almost behind him.
Bruce Williams' crew also did a great job getting him out fast. John Faulkner is out onto the track, and Alan the crews then really did a fantastic job, including, oh, look at the oil being swept off there with the kitty litter. Marshall Brewer there, but they really did a great job getting those cars out fast, didn't they?
Yes, they were very good stops, all of them. We might now be into a bit of decision time for those cars that didn't come in, and there are not a lot of them, and most of them have been gone a lap down once. Maybe their plan is to stay out there and try to get that lap back. That's going to be awful hard, the way the pace the front 8 cars have been running.
Well, it was perfect timing, wasn't it, that made this occur right at the 60 lap mark with 50 laps to go. Just the right time to get...
Commentary position here, Steve Harrington all of a sudden has come into the pit area.
There he is.
On screen at the moment. He didn't go in before because of John Faulkner being there. The officials, you can see, telling them to push it back. It is a rule about Auscar and NASCAR that you must be within the confines of your pit area.
He's now been stopped for just on 10 seconds. The tyres are off. Fresh tyres going back on. Of course, on the left-hand side of the car is the one that gets punishment. And he's away in 22.52 seconds. Not that it matters all that much under the yellow, I guess, but it's nice to time him. That's a pretty good, pretty respectable time for a tyre change on a pneumatic jack, Alan Gross.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's a good time. Remember the five nuts per wheel. Also, it's not a single nut running exercise like it is on a lot of well, the Group A cars.
62 laps have gone down. That means that there's 48 to go before the Goodyear Auscar Series for 93-94 comes to an end. And what a race it has been so far. We've had umpteen lead changes around
on the vehicle beside him. Green flag goes and they're away. Davies in car 88. The real race is going back on in the pack.
Now this is going to be a dangerous time for all of those lead drivers. Lap 63 at 110. And this is where they're going to have to be really, really careful. Take long. Currently the Jersey on screen leading. There's
Lee Watkins on the inside.
Yeah, he was the fastest qualifier for the Fords. Shouldn't take Faulkner and Jones long to get past this pack. 16 cars still on the lead lap as well. Right back to Robbie Burns in 16th spot, car 20.
Here comes John Faulkner now. Down the inside on Max de Jersey. Bang! Does it. Gotcha. Brad Jones now starting to come through as well.
Waihoon also, the Jersey just closed the door there for a second, or Lee Watkins, I should say. And Bruce Williams hasn't let them get away either. Nathan Pretty has moved up fairly well in the Caterpillar car.
That's your new race leader, John Faulkner.
Still, I've got the feeling that the pace has picked up. I think these guys are just, they're absolutely flat out now, Faulkner This is the sprint to the flag. It's a long way out still, but they've just got that look about them today. They're right into it. They're in deep corners.
Rodney Jane, sorry, Alan. Rodney Jane on screen all of a sudden did a pirouette. And that would have been interesting because, again, that would have closed the field right up, but no cautions. You can't get polished, Falcon. A lot of moisture in the air. It's good, clean oxygen. We see Brad Jones now right on the tail of Faulkner's car.
Just remember also that when Faulkner did the 1-3, Jones picked up about 30 metres on him in that lap.
Yeah, that's a point, isn't it? Yeah.
Quite interesting, the night racing, we see the sparks from the cars as they bottom out around the corners. Now Jones sitting right on the tail. This is going to be interesting. 71 laps down, 39 to go. It is going to be an absolute sprint to the flag.
If you thought it was an armchair ride, just look at the car working. Look at that suspension. The car drifting from the bottom of the track to the top of the track. They're working very hard.
Great crowd on hand at Calder Park Thunderdome. You've got to bear in mind too, Alan, these guys are going something like 240, 280 kilometres per hour.
Oh yes, it's there are very few places on this track, just the entrance to that. The crowd here will find it a lovely, pleasant evening to be watching motorsport, but inside the cars it's just as hot as ever. The engines are hot, the transmissions are hot, there's heat soaked through the metal into the cab, the air's hot. Here comes the pass, I think he's pulled out of the slip. He's got the nose in front. Look at that daylight. He's been looking for that. Down the inside, he tries and he's through. And what's going to happen? Will Faulkner go with him? Will he try and pull it away?
Faulkner got it a little bit sideways, just a little bit taily, just before Bradley pulled out and got him. So obviously Bradley forced the error, forced Faulkner to go in just a little bit hard, got him a little bit sideways. You can see he's just getting a little sideways there again. And Bradley took advantage of that activity.
Yeah, he did look fairly taily coming out of turn 4 the last time. They've gone across the start-finish line again. Great crowd on hand at the Thunderdome.
There's no doubt now that Bradley will try to pull a little gap if he can. If he can't pull a little gap in the next 2 or 3 laps, he may choose to slip back in and run into second spot again. But let's see what happens.
And Ian's coming out of turn number 2.
Darryl Spears gets out of the way.
Closing up again on the way into the corner. Look at that closing up. He's really picked up his corner speed. He's closed right up and Faulkner's car's loose. That's what's happened. Faulkner's car's fallen away a little bit from Jones and Waihool's picked him up very quickly and his car looks loose. And a puff of smoke, I thought, then out of Jones' car.
Yeah, I thought it was the back brake locking up. It did the previous lap as well.
Well, if it's a back brake locking up, it means the fronts are starting to go away a little and losing their effect.
What about this for Waihoon then? Because he's sitting in the box seat. He's in third. His car appears to be doing a great job. Bradley's car puffing a little bit of smoke. Faulkner's car getting very, very taily.
Yep, and Waihoon's car certainly looks good in the corners.
Yeah.
22 laps remaining.
More traffic, more lap traffic, 2 in front.
And of course, coming across the traffic makes your car work a little bit harder. And Faulkner has put together.
Yes, and you see Bradley Jones has, again, just snipped that couple of yards away. And it's just grafted.
Oh,
We've
there's
got a car
Rogers.
in the infield.
Gary Rogers, the 34 Valvoline Falcon.
Brings out the yellows. Yep. So as the yellows come out, it's Brad Jones in the lead from John Faulkner, Terry Waihoon, Marshall Brewer, Nathan Pretty. Stephen Harrington is back in 6th position from Grant Munday in 7th, and Robbie Burns back in 8th place.
And of course, what this is going to do, the race is back up.
You bet. Yeah, let's see what happened to Gary Rogers. That's him in the Valvoline car.
Got loose on the way in. Nobody touched him. Tail comes round. He chooses not to fight it all the way down and perhaps overcorrect it. Takes the smart option, I guess, the calm option, locks them all up and lets it go onto the grass.
Good driving job from a very experienced driver, and of course the winner of the Auscar race at the FAI IndyCar Grand Prix at Surfers Paradise last month.
And Gary Rogers, of course, a man who's done so much for motorsport in Australia. Not only a driver, but also a team owner, and a man who's brought up a lot of young talent into the sport.
I think maybe the race director there took the decision for yellow when when he was still sliding along, because he certainly wasn't left on the track. There wasn't a dangerous situation, but we've now got an interesting situation with Faulkner coming into the pits. Maybe the car was loose before. He's coming in for a rear tyre or two.
And the starter's tower, John Mostini, chief starter, has indicated 1 lap remaining.
So Faulkner hits the pits, going for 2 left-hand tyres.
That's interesting that they changed tyres last time. Maybe that those tyres might have been buffed too much, because they are road tyres, aren't they, Alan? And they basically cut a big layer of rubber off them.
Yes, they do. It's hard to imagine they would have made a mistake like that. I think the car's just sort of got loose on him, and as it gets loose, it starts to use the rear tyre. As the rear tyre loses extra grip, of course, it gets looser again, so you've got a culminating effect.
So 27.9 seconds lost in the pit.
We'll be running on slick tyres next year, and look at Waihoon pulled out to try and get past. Oh, hang on, they're going to go 3 and 4 abreast into turn number 1.
Yeah, Waihoon had a big go on Bradley Jones then. Tried to get out of the drum, tried to get through him, but Jones just had too much horsepower.
Look at Faulkner right up on the wall, 3 wide, and he's taken about 4 cars in that 2 corners.
So current placings on screen: Brad Jones first, Terry Waihoon second, Marshall Brewer third, Nathan Pretty a great job up in the 4th, Stevie Harrington in 5th spot.
Done with yet, he's charging.
Here he comes now under the inside of Steve Harrington.
10 laps remaining.
So that's 100 laps down. Nathan Pretty doing a great job as well. He's in 4th spot.
Pretty, of course, the young protege of Bradley Jones and running an ex-Bradley Jones car.
Also from the Albury-Wodonga area on the New South Wales-Victorian border. Wonder if Steve Harrington's car is going off a little bit. You saw him drop back dramatically when Faulkner passed him. Look at Waihoon.
Waihoon all over the back of Bradley Jones. Look at this. And Waihoon has just made the decision that the only thing he can do is harry and harass Brad Jones until Jones makes the error.
He's going low line. Brad's still on the high line. Oh, boy, Wayne Jones there on that low line. Waihoon had to take quick action.
And Faulkner's not out of this as far as this motor race is concerned. His fresh green tyres are working. There's not many laps to go, but the way he's coming through the field, he will definitely feature.
He's got past Pretty. He's up into 4th spot now.
Half a second a lap is being gained by John Faulkner. 3.3 seconds is the gap. Now back to John Faulkner. It was 3.8 only 1 lap ago.
That's an amazing pace, this many laps into a race meeting. This is going to make it interesting. There is a bit of slower traffic coming up. Brewer's going to go high. Just trying to get into the switch stream of Watkins and then pull out down the back straight.
Here comes Waihoon on Jones. Waihoon down the inside of Jones. Faulkner goes through Brewer. There goes Waihoon into the lead. Whoa.
Well,
and with 4 to go, and Bradley's not having enough of that. He's going to come back and slipstreaming down the front straight.
Here he comes,
and he's
down
pulled
the
a slip
inside.
on him as well.
Go Jones. Go Waihoon. Look at this, side by side. Jones back into the lead.
this has just been sensational racing the Petters Auscar 200.
Faulkner 2.2 seconds behind. Don't reckon he can do it with only 4 laps remaining. This is the race for the lead. That's Faulkner lurking back there. Too far to go.
We're looking for absolute ripper. John Faulkner currently in 3rd position. We're coming around. The white flag is waving. Bradley Jones currently first. Terry Waihoon right on his bumper in 2nd spot. The championship lap.
Jones is going to do it. Jones is going to win his 5th consecutive Auscar championship. But Terry Waihoon is also a champion. He has done a sensational job this season long, and he's done a sensational and very creditable job in this race tonight.
Yeah, I think it's the championship experience, the grand final experience, as Waihoon has a last-ditch run at him through the last corner of the race.
Desperate lunge from Waihoon down to the checkered flag. Bradley Jones holds it by what? By 0.24 of a second.
Oh, and Brewer got past Faulkner. Faulkner broke at the finish, and Brewer took 3rd spot off him.
He did indeed. Marshall Brewer up into 3rd position. John Faulkner just pipped by 0.4 of a second, taken back to 4th place.
So those guys, fantastic race.
Bradley Jones acknowledges the cheers of this monstrous crowd here at Calder Thunderdome. And Bradley Jones will be absolutely elated. 5 times Auscar champion.
Yeah, that was a very well executed, planned, tactical win, and not without speed. I mean, he went for it, he led it, I don't know how many times during the race, and when the championship rounds came round, he was the one up front fighting. I think it's a great win. I think it's a very, very deserved win. He won it with pace.
Here we go.
The burnout from Bradley.
And do the crowd here love it? I tell you, he wouldn't even care if it biffed the wall. The Cooper Tools, Atlantis Removals, holding Commodore, the winner by 0.16 of a second.
Hey, well,
Bradley has won.
He's a bit of a lout. He's a bit of a lout, Bradley.
Bradley, I'd like to see him do that in the Lotus in production car racing, which he's also driving at the moment.
Well, I'm going to go and have a couple of Valiums because I've got a little job of work to do. I don't know how much adrenaline I used up. That's the main problem. But a bit of Valium, a bit of a cup of tea, and I'll lie down, and I'll be waving at you, John, next time.
Gricey, good luck. We hope to see you after 120 laps and not before.
Well, I'm only starting second last on the grid. I guess somebody must have been in more trouble than us or had a bigger fire than we did during qualifying.
Bradley Jones has won 18 Auscar races in his career. Bradley Jones is the most successful Auscar racer in Australia. I hate to say it, but I reckon after 5, oh, here he goes again. After 5 Auscar Championship wins, it's got to be time, Bradley, to concentrate on NASCAR racing next year and let someone else have a crack at the crown.
Yeah, I think it is time, but what a great way to finish a career in Auscar racing, if it is the last one. That is just sensational. Bradley led 4 times during that race for 40 laps. And there's only one time that you really need to be leading, and that's at the finish line for the checkered flag.
It's taken Brad a while to get back to the pits. Have you actually noticed? Yes. But the crowd's loving it. Aren't we all? Now, there is a young man in the Sportsman Series who is going to negotiate the purchase of that motor car. I wonder if he wants to buy it now in as-run condition.
Let's go down to Ian Campbell on pit row.
Oh, Bradley Jones in the car, helmet off, Brad. Congratulations, undisputably the grand champ of Auscar racing. Well done. But let me tell you, we saw a puff of smoke out the car with 10 to go. Do you have a problem?
Not really, you know. The car was starting to push really bad, and I was sort of watching where John was and then where Terry was, and you know, I didn't even look at the gauges for the last 5 laps because I don't think that would have stopped me. You know, it's great. This is probably the last time I race an Auscar seriously, and it's good to go out with a finish for all the guys and Cooper Tools and Atlantis Removals and everyone that's helped us get here because it's been a tough season.
How different was it under the lights?
Well, it was, you know, when the adrenaline's pumping, it's really not that much different. You know, you can see everything that's going on in the car, and it just keeps the car a bit cooler and keeps the times up there. So my brother worked hard on the car and it worked perfectly. We were quite confident we could outrun John with the old tyres towards the end, and that's what we did.
I think your dad's down there still jumping for joy.
Yeah, that's good considering he's paralysed.
Absolutely great. The yardstick is now set. 5 consecutive Auscar titles. This man said it. What's going to be for next year?
Bradley's dad, we must say, just to clarify that, is one of the real characters of the sport. He's been in a wheelchair most of his adult life, but he's been also the greatest help that a young man like Brad Jones could ever have. And they're all heroes in their hometown of Albury-Wodonga. And for Brad Jones and his dad, this has been a real crowning glory tonight.
There's his brother Kim Jones also on screen there, shaking his hand. One pretty happy camp.
The Auscar Series, Brad Jones won the event, as you can see, by the narrowest of margins, from Terry Waihoon, then Marshall Brewer, John Faulkner and Nathan Pretty, Brad Jones' protege and probably his successor.